Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
So, you might have caught this story recently. It definitely caused a bit of a stir. Major newspapers, we're talking the Chicago Sun-Times, the Philadelphia Inquirer, they published summer reading lists. Sounds normal, right?
Perfectly normal.
Except these lists featured supposedly brand new books by really well-known authors. Think Andy Weir, Min-Jin Lee, Isabel Allende.
Big names.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. The books, they weren't real. Didn't exist. Turns out it all stemmed from a freelance writer using AI for, well, research.
And skipping a pretty vital step, the fact-checking part.
Right. So today we're going to unpack this. How did fake books end up recommended in major papers? What was the immediate fallout? And importantly, what does this tell us about AI and media trust, and what safeguards are, or maybe should be, in place for you, the reader?
It's a fascinating case study, really. It wasn't like a deliberate hoax or anything malicious. The writer, Marco Buscaglia, actually came forward and called it a stupid error. He admitted relying on AI to generate ideas.
Instead of, the usual methods, checking publisher catalogs, reputable reviews.
Exactly. He used AI, got titles like Tidewater Dreams, supposedly by Ellen, or The Last Algorithm, by Weir, completely fabricated, and put them in the list he sent off.
And where did it go from there?
It went to King Features. Now, they're a big syndication service. They provide content, comics, puzzles, articles, supplements to newspapers all over the country.
Ah, okay. So this wasn't generated by the Sun-Times or the Inquirer's own staff.
No, that's a key point. This fake list was part of a syndicated supplement called the Heat Index. It's essentially advertising content that papers can buy and run. The newsrooms themselves were involved in creating or even reviewing it.
So the papers likely assumed King Features had done its due diligence, some level of editorial check.
That seems to be the case. They probably figured, it's King Features, they've been around forever, the content must be vetted. A reasonable assumption maybe, but
clearly one that backfired here. How did the error actually get caught?
Well, readers noticed. And crucially, the authors themselves started seeing these non-existent books attributed to them. People like Rebecca Mackay went public, saying essentially, I didn't write that.
Oh, wow. Imagine finding out you supposedly wrote a book you've never even heard of.
Exactly. And once authors started speaking out, social media picked it up very quickly. The backlash was pretty immediate.
Okay, so the story breaks. It's embarrassing for everyone involved. What happened next? What were the immediate consequences?
Well, King Features moved fast. They cut ties with Marco Buscaglia, the writer. And importantly, they publicly reaffirmed their policy against using AI for generating content.
That sends a clear signal, doesn't it?
It does. It shows they're taking it seriously, at least publicly. Meanwhile, the newspapers involved, the Sun-Times and the Inquirer, they put out statements too.
What did they say?
Basically, distancing their newsrooms from the supplement, emphasizing they didn't create or approve it, and launching internal reviews to figure out how this slipped through their processes for syndicated advertising content.
And it wasn't just management, right? I heard the journalists' union at the Sun-Times also weighed in.
Yes, the Sun-Times Guild. They raised a really important point about trust. They were concerned about AI-generated material appearing right alongside the journalism produced by their members, people who are held to strict standards.
Yeah, I can see that. If you, the reader, see something questionable in one part of the paper, even if it's an ad supplement, it can erode your trust in the whole publication, right?
Absolutely. It blurs the lines. And this whole incident slots right into the bigger ongoing debate in journalism about using AI, especially when newsrooms are facing budget cuts, layoffs, and this pressure to automate more.
It does feel like a symptom of those larger pressures. And this isn't the first time we've seen AI content cause problems in media, is it?
No, sadly not. There have been other instances. Sports Illustrated faced criticism for AI-generated articles with errors and fake author profiles. CNET also had issues with AI-written financial articles containing mistakes.
So this fake book list is sort of another data point in that trend.
Exactly. It highlights the fundamental risk. Unchecked AI content, even if it's not malicious, can seriously damage the credibility of news organizations. It makes it harder for people to know what's real and what's, well, an AI hallucination.
Hallucination, it's almost a gentle word for just making stuff up.
It is. But the impact isn't gentle. It really underscores why human oversight, that careful fact-checking process, is so critical, especially when dealing with AI tools that are known to confabulate, to present false information confidently.
Because if you have real vetted journalism next to AI-generated fiction in the same place and the errors aren't caught.
The reader loses confidence. Why
Yeah.
trust any of it? It really damages that core relationship between a publication and its audience.
So given this wake-up call, what's being done to prevent this kind of thing from happening again? What are the safeguards?
Well, on an organizational level, you're seeing news outlets reevaluating their policies. Some are strengthening bans on AI for content creation. Others are putting much stricter review processes in place, especially for any external or syndicated content.
Like double-checking things they might have previously assumed were fine.
Precisely. And beyond internal rules, there's a big push for transparency. More calls for clear labels, so you, the reader, know if you're looking at something generated or assisted by AI. There's even talk of legislation, like the proposed AI Labeling Act.
Are there technological fixes being looked at too, ways to automatically spot AI writing?
Yes, definitely. People are working on and implementing AI detection tools. These can involve things like digital watermarks, ways to track the origin or provenance of content using metadata, and of course software designed specifically to analyze text and flag it as likely AI generated.
How do those detection tools actually work? In simple terms, what are they looking for?
Okay, so without getting too technical, they analyze writing patterns. AI text often has a certain uniformity, maybe less variation in sentence length, more predictable word choices. Humans tend to write with more, well, randomness or burstiness.
Bursting.
Yeah, like varying sentence lengths and complexity more naturally. AI detectors measure things like perplexity, how surprising the word choices are, and burstiness. Lower perplexity and less burstiness can sometimes indicate AI. They might also compare the text to huge databases of known AI writing.
But AI is getting better all the time, right? Can these tools really keep up? Are they foolproof?
That's the crucial caveat. No, they're not foolproof. They can generate false positives flagging human writing as AI and false negatives missing AI-generated text, especially from newer, more sophisticated models.
So it's not a magic bullet.
Definitely not. AI detection is a tool, maybe one part of the puzzle, but it can't replace human judgment and thorough verification. It's an ongoing challenge, an arms race almost, between AI generation and detection.
Which brings us back to the bigger picture. This whole incident, even though it started with a book list, touches on some really significant ethical points about AI and media.
Absolutely. Accuracy is paramount, and AI's tendency to hallucinate poses a direct threat. Then there's transparency. Outlets need to be clear about how and when they're using AI, and a huge issue is bias.
How does bias come into play with AI-generated content?
AI models learn from vast amounts of text data, mostly scraped from the internet, and that data reflects existing societal biases, racial biases, gender biases, you name it. So the AI can inadvertently learn and then perpetuate those biases and stereotypes in the content it generates.
So it could lead to unfair or skewed coverage?
Potentially, yes. We've seen studies showing AI exhibiting biases against women or certain racial groups because the training data itself was biased. This can lead to reinforcing stereotypes, marginalizing certain voices, or oversimplifying really complex issues. It requires careful auditing and human oversight to counteract.
And all of this, the errors, the potential bias, the lack of transparency circles back to that issue of trust, doesn't it? Public trust in media is already fragile.
Exactly. If AI is integrated carelessly, without strong ethical guidelines and human control, it risks further eroding that trust. There are other concerns too, of course, copyright issues, data privacy when using AI tools, potential job displacement for journalists. But the core issue this book list highlighted is that fundamental link between accuracy, oversight, and credibility.
So wrapping this up, this seemingly small error with the fake book list really serves as a pretty stark warning sign.
I think so, yes. It's a clear reminder of the vulnerabilities and risks right now at this intersection of AI and the media landscape. The potential is there, perhaps, but so are the pitfalls.
It really hammers home the need for, well, vigilance. Strong fact-checking, human oversight, clear standards. These seem more important than ever as AI becomes more common.
Absolutely essential. We simply can't afford to automate trust.
Which leaves us with a thought to consider. As these AI tools get even more sophisticated, maybe even harder to detect, how will any of us really discern what's reliable information versus sophisticated fiction? And what responsibility do we all share in demanding that transparency and accuracy from the sources we rely on? Something to definitely keep in mind.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.